All Monday. This is the Buddy Martin Show, and I am Buddy Martin. Glad to have you tonight. We'll talk about a lot of the news lately, especially now that there's down to one playoff spot left in college baseball. We'll give you that update. We'll talk about some about recruiting, something we don't know much about, but we'll have some information. Apparently, quite a week for the Florida Gators. We'll discuss that. Kevin Brockway will join us later. And then Franz Beard will talk to us about what's going on in the world of all Gator sports. Of course, Shane Matthews, the QB, the host of his own show. We will talk to him just a moment here in the Gator Orange and Blue Room. Stay tuned. The Buddy Martin Show is coming up right now, right here. Tell your friends and neighbors.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Hello, welcome to the Buddy Martin Show. Meldon all Monday. We're down to the nub now. We're getting close to, well, it's college football season to most of us. We'll be talking now more and more about football as it gets closer and closer, and a major policy shift here about policies on this program. We're going to endeavor to quit talking about things off the field that don't pertain to the game. We have got policy wonks everywhere. Look up the definition if you don't have it. And we talk about things every day that pertain to policy and money and all the other stuff. When really what we're here for the games. We're here for the games, the results, the competition. At least that's what I'm here for. And I have a feeling this guy's here for it as well. I know he wants to talk ball more and more and less about policy. Good evening to you, Shane Matthews.
How you doing, buddy?
Am I right about that?
Yeah, I mean, there are really no rules right now in college athletics, so why worry about it?
Well, they'll change as fast as you start studying up on them. You know, it's so quick. And so, anyway, I don't want to complain because I think the college game might be better. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how this all works out. All these schools get $20 million to play with. I don't know. Let's say screw it up. But still not 100% sure everything is like it ought to be. We hope for better, Shane, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the dollar now. I saw where I think Texas Tech is reported that probably going to have the highest paid athletes on campus at like $55 million. I don't know if that's for one sport or what, but they had the highest paid player in women's college softball, and
Yeah.
they're throwing their money around.
Well, now, if you want to play the money game, Texas Tech ought not go up against guys like Texas and Texas A&M.
Yeah, they got some big backers though, buddy, at that school too.
I know they do, but I don't think they got bigger backers than Texas got. We'll see how that goes. It's going to be a money game, ego game. But meanwhile, Shane, I know you don't like me. We don't keep up with recruiting per se, but it seems like when you read the pickups that Florida got this past week, and we'll go over some of those later, it looks like they're gaining some ground in that area. I think I don't really know because I'm not a recruiting expert, but I know they got some big offensive linemen. They got some players they want. They got a wide receiver from Gainesville that we know about, Justin Williams, who may not be able to break through because there's so much competition. But it feels like, it seems like, and I think I hear and read tweets from Billy's brother, Kurt, about how he's doing, and he feels like he's really fired up about what they're doing recruiting-wise. So again, not to talk about things that are going to be next year, and not to talk about policy, and not talk about money. So I'm not going to focus on. I'm going to focus on what's here right now, what's next. And the one thing that gets me a little bit stirred up, and I know these are preseason polls, is the latest ESPN projection on how the teams will finish. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay, well, they came out with it today, the SEC's projection on the teams, how they will finish. Now, we know how Athlon had them. I'm talking just SEC, ranking the SEC. Where would you think the Florida Gators might land in there?
Well, you said you had a problem with it, so I'm assuming 8th.
How about 11th?
Oh, wow.
Am I missing something here, Shane?
I mean, we got to see us win games. I mean, we won 8 last year, buddy. Had a good end of the season. I can see where people are coming from. I still think there's 3 teams in the SEC that can surprise people this year, and I think Florida, Auburn, and Oklahoma are the 3, in my opinion.
Well, none of those got any love from this poll.
Right.
And I'm not going to go through the whole poll. Now, Florida plays 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 9 of these teams, right?
I think Oklahoma's schedule is harder than ours, isn't it?
You know what? I don't know.
Well, supposedly harder. I don't know why people – here's the thing. If you play in the SEC, you're going to have a hard schedule. And I am so tired of people talking about it, quite honestly, buddy.
Yeah.
Because if we were not playing the hard schedule, people were going to bitch and complain that we're playing Louisiana Tech and
I hear you.
These directional schools. So, like I said last year, embrace the schedule. It's going to be fun.
Well, they play all these teams. They're ranked ahead of them. They play them all, so we'll know about that. But let me give you this top 5 or 6, and I'm going to tell you about what I call the really it's a 4-game stretch, okay? And I think it's the toughest 4-game stretch I've ever seen in college football. And Florida Gators have got to play it. So we'll talk about it. But here's how ESPN picked it. They got Texas number 1, no surprise there, right? Number 2 is Georgia, no surprise there. Number 3 is Alabama. I guess you could argue that, but I think it's fine. Number 4 is Texas A&M. I'm not sure they belong that high, but we'll see. Number 5 is Tennessee. Tennessee 5 spots better than Florida? I don't think so. I'm not even sure they're better than Florida. We'll see what the quarterback situation is going to be. LSU is 6. I watched the LSU game this past weekend on Saturday night, just for the heck of it. And I've forgotten some of the things that happened. I know that Jaden Ball, when he got that ball tucked under and took off, he showed some speed, man. He outran that defensive back for LSU. The defensive line played really well in that game. DJ Lagway didn't play his best, but he didn't make any mistakes. They beat the crushing blow was the ball touchdown. They came back, and then Nussmeyer got hurt. I got to give him a lot of credit. He kept battling in there, and he couldn't get it done at the end. The defense held. So LSU is 6. Ole Miss is 7. Auburn is 8 ahead of Florida. 9 is South Carolina. 10 is Oklahoma ahead of Florida. And 11, your Florida Gators. I don't know.
Who's behind us?
Everybody else is behind you. This is the SEC. 12 is Missouri Tigers. 13 is Arkansas. 14 is Kentucky. They lost a key guy today, I saw. I read the story. This guy was apparently the guy on the field. He went to work as the athletic director, or not the athletic director, what do you call it, new general manager for Louisville. And they talked like he was just a key piece of Kentucky in recruiting and everything. There was a lot of moaning and groaning. Vanderbilt's 15, and Mississippi State is 16. Now, any thoughts on any of that?
I mean, time will tell. I mean, A lot of people think LSU. I would say LSU needs to be higher than whatever that poll is you just had it too. I think they're going to be really good on offense. I think they're going to. Yeah, we'll know a lot about LSU first game of the year. They got to play Clemson.
Yeah,
and they lose their first game of the year every year anyway. So we'll see what happens.
Texas first game of the year too. Yeah. Ohio State. So that's going to be a battle. All right, so here's what I have deemed the Scorched Earth Saturday, a month of Scorched Earth Saturdays for the Florida Gators. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Starting with Game 3, Florida at LSU, night game. Not a great place to start. Tough, as you just said, tough. Next up, Miami at Miami. I feel more confident about that, but I think Miami's favored in that game. Then they have, thankfully, a week off. And next up, Texas comes to Steve Spurrier Field, and what you said was the biggest game ever played here. And I agree. And then they follow up by going to Texas A&M. You talk about a tough stretch of games? Wow.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's the biggest game ever played. I think it's going to be the most expensive ticket, is what I said.
I think it's the biggest game ever played. They're number one.
It depends on. I mean, if we're sitting there at 1-2, it ain't that big of a game.
Well, I mean, Texas beats Ohio State and then comes to town and defeated ranked number one. And Florida is, let's say, have one loss. It is a huge game. I think the biggest ever played at Florida Field, in my opinion. And I've seen quite a few of them. That's just my opinion, but as you say, that's what we do here. We give opinions. So there's a Scorched Earth Saturday, which I've been writing and talking about. It's quite an amazing thing. And I'm for it. I love it. I love it Texas is coming here. I love we're going to get to see Arch Manning. I heard a guy say last week, I think I told you, he may be the greatest quarterback of all time. And he may be. I don't know. Haven't seen it yet, but, it is for sure. So that's that. All right, Shane, jump in here in a minute. Just talk about baseball. I think we got one left, and it's Murray State, and they were leading. They were losing to Duke 3-2, I think, in the third. So that's that. Your thoughts about how the baseball wrapped up?
You mean how our season wrapped up?
Well, no, just the playoffs.
I thought it was that spectacular. I think college baseball regionals and super regionals are some of the most fascinating games you'll ever watch because you don't know what's going to happen. And there's only I think 2 or 3 seeded teams that are in the College World Series right now: LSU, Arkansas, and UCLA. I think because Louisville wasn't even a top seed in the top 15. Neither was Arizona. I love Coastal Carolina. They're my pick. Them and Arkansas to win it all.
They won't be a real popular choice at the.
They're the third. JC and I talked about it today. So I think Arkansas is the favorite, then LSU, and then Coastal Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They got the best pitching staff in the tournament.
Duke and Murray State are tied 3-3. LSU, Oregon State, Arkansas, Coastal Carolina, UCLA, Arizona, and Louisville are headed to Omaha. So we'll see how it turns out. But, I understand. I'm seeing some stories about Sully getting some good pickups in recruiting. I see like Florida got a softball catcher at Mississippi State, and they got some football players. There's been a lot of recruiting activity. I know you don't talk about recruiting much. And I don't much either because I don't know much about it, but people who know about it talk about it as being quite a weekend. All right, Shane, it's U.S. Open week. Time to go. I saw a really good piece today on NBC on the history of Oakmont. I've covered 2 of the Opens there. One was a 63 by Johnny Miller, by the way, in the final round. Arnold Palmer's played in 5 Opens at Oakmont. That was his home course, other than the Trove. So that course it's a really good piece on what the Founds family did there to preserve the integrity. They want to make it hard. They've done that. They say this is the toughest greens anywhere to putt. or fast, whatever. Scotty Scheffler, obviously, we like. I know we don't have time to make picks right now, but give me some thoughts about who you like. Besides Scotty Scheffler, who do you like?
I mean, I like Xander, Colin Morikawa. I kind of like Russell Henley because you got to hit it straight at this golf course. Doesn't matter about your length.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
It's probably the hardest. Some people say it's the hardest golf course in the world.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and I've seen
And
it.
it's totally different than what it was 15, 20 years ago. They've cut every tree down. There's no more.
Yeah.
There's no more trees.
Yeah, the NBC piece shows the evolution of the golf course.
Yeah, they cut literally every damn tree down.
They cut them down at night. They planted them all too, by the way. Those trees. They planted all those trees.
Yeah,
and
so
they cut them down.
It's no longer. They probably need to change the name of the place.
No longer oak vine, huh?
Yeah, there are no more oak trees there.
Yeah, well, that's anyway. It's going to be a heck of a tournament, and the putters are going to be the ones who excel. I don't know yet who all my picks are going to be. I like this Shambo. If he's rolling the rock, I think
he can't hit it in play, buddy. He ain't gonna have a chance.
I know. Well, he'll get it in play. He's a little crazy. I know. I like him still. He's a competitor, and in the U.S. Open, you have to keep your cool because, as you know, at any minute you can blow up. Any minute, and maintaining that cool is the key to it. So, I don't know. That's why I got Schauffele. He hadn't putted too well lately. So I'm not going to hold me to it, but I like Scotty, and you do too, I'm sure. I'll never not pick him.
We're in my picks on my show, we're not allowed to pick him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying who I like. I'm not picking him. I'm just saying who I. So anyway, you and I like golf, and I like the U.S. Open. There's some weird TV times. Have you seen them?
I have not.
They're all over the place. They must think, we have a clicker just here and change. Listen to this. Listen, Thursday on USA Network, all right, in the morning, and the afternoon is the Peacock. You got the Peacock, Shane? I do, but
I don't know. That's usually I forgot NBC was carrying it, so they do this every year.
Yeah, Friday it's Peacock and NBC, and then Peacock again. Saturday is the USA Network. They like that, and then it's NBC. Sunday, it's NBC, USA Network, and NBC. So, these people, they don't care about the fact we have to jump around every 2 seconds. And if you go play a game of golf and you set your tape and you come back, it's on the wrong channel and you miss it. Anyway, don't get me started on that. But anyway, I love golf and I love the U.S. Open. Be watching it closely. And all right, so we're going to go get our guest here in just a minute. First, I want to ask you about Mullen. Have you heard the comments about Dan Mullen?
I have not. What happened?
All right. He may be right about this. It's possible. According to what I read just this afternoon on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Dan Mullen says UNLV facilities are better than Florida's.
He said what?
And UNLV's facilities are better than Florida's.
Well, you got to remember, Dan never had the indoor. Football standalone facility.
Maybe they were at one time, but they're not now.
Well, they could be better than if he's comparing them to when he was the coach.
Yeah,
that could be very true.
He hadn't seen him for that much anyway. He's obviously not making a whole lot of friends down here these days, or he probably doesn't care. And we'll see how that goes. But okay, you want to do a ranking on the stadiums in the SEC? I'll give you a minute while I do a spot and come back. This is the Grok rankings. Now, you know what Grok is?
I don't know what that is, buddy.
Grok is the artificial intelligence people that you write stories for you and do ratings. You can go in and say, you learn to use this and if AI, and you say, tell me what you think are the best ratings. And they do a nonpartisan. They gather all the data and they do the research. They give you their answers. You can ask them anything. You can ask them to write a story for you. Write me a story about Shane Matthews, the greatest quarterback in the history of Florida football, and they'll write it for you. This is artificial intelligence, Shane. I don't think you're ready for this.
I'm not.
But it's interesting to see what an independent.
Will they do a show for me without me having to be there?
Probably. Yes, they could do that.
We should try that one day.
We should just to take over, boys. But artificial intelligence is the future, from what my son Brendan tells me. I'm not exactly thrilled about it, but because it flies in the face of journalism, which is the integrity, supposedly.
Man, I wish they'd had that when I was in school. I'd be like, write this paper for me.
Believe me, they're doing it. But they have detectors now; they can tell if you read. So yeah, that's what he'll write a letter for you. He'll do anything for you. It's like $5-6 a month. Shane, you need to come in and do your laundry. That's what you need to do.
I'm learning all kinds of stuff on the Buddy Martin Show.
We're trying to keep you up to speed. I'll tell you what else you can learn. If you need an attorney who's got not just the knowledge and the skill, but also the heart and is a Gator and through, someone who's shown his loyalty and continues to support the University of Florida like nobody, is the official injury law firm of the Florida Gators. And the guy everybody loves, Jeffrey Meldon. Meldon Law is the place you want to go. I've been going there now. I'm a client of his on some issue, it's real estate matters, whatever. He may not know exactly what the best approach is for you on this particular case, but they can get you to an attorney that can. And I want him handling my business because he's a man of integrity and foresight, and he's got his heart in the right place. Meldon Law, I've got to remind him sometimes he has so much fun being a Gator, he forgets he's also a lawyer. If you want to locate, there's 4 locations to get a hold of him: Meldon Law, Ocala, Gainesville, Williston, Lake City. Check them out. They like you to know that they will not back down. Shane, what's the best stadium in the SEC?
Well, mine, and I think it's the number. It's got to be the number one. It's Tiger Stadium.
You got it.
Yeah, it's ain't nothing like that place, buddy.
Yeah, no, I've been there many times. Many times. You're right. There is nothing like it. Those drunk Cajuns can make it used to be a lot worse. They used to have the tiger on the field.
I know. I wish they'd bring it back. They should bring it back.
And they'd go poke the tiger and make him roar. Yeah. So, all right, let's see. What else you got here? Who's third? Who's second? Now, remember, it's different because we got new people in.
Second one, they're probably going to say Alabama.
Nope.
Georgia.
Nope.
Auburn.
Nope.
Florida.
Nope.
Texas.
Nope.
Tennessee.
Nope.
Jeez, who have I left out?
Texas A&M.
Oh, the Aggies. Yeah, it's an impressive atmosphere. I will say that, but
I don't know if I agree with that. But I haven't spent a lot of time at Calfield, so I'll give them that one. Now, number 3 they got is, I think it's because of the capacity. A lot of these are about capacity too, by the way. They have 101,915 Neyland Stadium. Or Neyland, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
It's a cool venue too, especially when they get the Rocky Top going.
Yeah, it is.
It's a cool venue.
It says Duval Navy, checkerboard end zone, Sweet Caroline, 100,000 plus fans. Neyland's iconic, and I like all that. I like Duval Navy.
Duval Navy is very cool.
They're very cool. Now comes Alabama at 4. Bryant Denny, home of the Crimson Tide Dynasty, say the art venue, Walk of Champions, symmetrical design. Anyway, so I would say maybe. Okay. And 5 would be
the Swamp.
The Georgia Bulldogs, Sanford Stadium, between the hedges.
I've never been there.
No, you've never been there. Okay. It's pretty cool. The only thing about it, they used to be hurt. The fans would leave in the third quarter a lot in the old days. And the capacity is pretty good. It's 92,000. And Bryant Denny is 100. Then your Florida Gators, Ben Hill Griffin, is best at night on campus studying swampy heat. It is most unique, I think, in that regard, because it is in a hole,
Mm-hmm.
and you would tell me you played in it a lot. What was the big? As we go and find our buddy Kevin Brockway here, tell me what you think were the most other than the altitude and the being in a swamp. What was there about the field that made it so great?
I think it's what I like about it. It's not symmetrical. I think that makes it kind of cool. I think it being kind of not really underground, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And how close it is to the field.
Proximity, yeah.
That because our sidelines are. I mean, I don't think there's anywhere other than. I'm trying to think. The only other college football stadium I can think of that has hardly any sideline room like ours is Boone Pickens Stadium at Oklahoma State. I mean, you literally can you get right out of bounds there, you're going into a brick wall usually, no matter where you are on the field.
Yeah.
But it's a cool place.
Kevin in here. Kevin, this is Grok. AI. Grok is they rank the SEC stadiums.
Texas A&M number 2. Give me a break. What's other than Johnny football? I mean, history, tradition, or whatever. Every time I go there, it's an afternoon game, and they have, but it's quiet. It's not loud. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm not. No. I would put the Swamp 2 or 3. I mean, with Neyland and with Death Valley. I mean, that to me is those are and Alabama. I mean, and Georgia, I mean, Kirby is complaining all the time because there are no big games there and stuff, and the atmosphere there, and it's bad for recruiting and stuff and everything like that. So, no, the Swamp's got to be a little higher up. I'm not saying it has to be number 1, but it has to be a little higher up than 6.
I would put it up there at 3 or 4, in my opinion. I got to give Neyland their due, 101 and almost 102,000. And like Shane and I said, they got the Vela Navy.
Yeah.
The checkerboard end zones were brought by Doug Dickey. He's the one who brought them along. Yeah. I don't care about Sweet Caroline. I ain't got nothing on Sweet Caroline.
I've never even heard that.
The Red Sox sing it too. I don't know.
Buddy, you're going out of the frame a little bit there. You got to move yourself or something.
Yeah, I do. Thank
you. Halfway in, halfway out there.
Yeah, I get reading here. I get all excited about it. So let me. All right, there you go.
There we go. We got you.
And then thank you for that. Stanford staying between the hedges 6. Bill Griffin 5. Bill Griffin 6. Swamp is a beast. The Gators. I think you're right, Shane. I think because it's so close, you're on top of people. It's hot. The intensity level when the game gets on the line, the noise level, Shane. I think it might be as loud as any place.
I don't think anything compares to Tiger Stadium personally. I would rank the stadiums in probably no particular. Well, I put LSU number 1 hands down, and then it would be Florida, Tennessee, Auburn.
Auburn
Stadium
was a very tough, loud. Of course, they got him on the year Zook went in there and got beat. They nailed Auburn for piping in the crowd noise. Got fined for it.
You know what stadium used to be on top of you? And I know you're both going to say it's dump, but the Dolphins and the Hurricanes both lost an advantage when the Orange Bowl got torn down because that stadium was right on top of you too.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the stadium. I mean, you used to get when it was loud and when that stadium was filled, you used to get
Miami, the Old Orange Bowl?
Yes, it was right on top of you. Fans were right on top of you.
Kevin, I've been to 100 games there, okay? There ain't nothing anywhere close to being a top 10. Yeah. I'm telling you.
I'm not saying it's a top 10, but I'm just saying that the Dolphins back in the day, when they moved into pro player, it was
I saw every Dolphin game for the first 10 years, okay? I covered them. I know it was not loud. They couldn't give tickets away. Back in those days, they gave the media 2 tickets.
Oh, so you're trying to tell me the Dan Marino game in '86 against the Bears?
That Dan Marino came on a little later. I'm talking about
the 1980s. Yeah, when the Dolphins were rolling, that place was loud and the fans were on top of you. And the same thing with the Hurricanes.
My perspective there, Kevin, that's not correct. I've seen 100 games down there. Not even a top 10, let alone it's not. No. let's get this guy's opinion. I mean, it's just not. I love you, Kevin. I think you're a very smart guy. And you know a lot. But that's one thing you are dead wrong about. Miami wouldn't even be anybody there. It's a terrible city for sports. Am I right there, friends?
Well, if the Hurricanes and the Dolphins are winning, it's a great city. If they're not winning, you won't find anybody. You know, there's too much to do down there. If the Dolphins and the Hurricanes aren't winning.
But Franz, my point is, if the stadium is full there, the crowd is on top of you.
But the stadium's never full. It's never full.
Back in the day, when
Notre Dame, maybe, yeah.
They had some games when it was rocking, and it was a pretty cool place.
No,
and I covered the Dolphins in '76 there, and they were, that was Shoe's first losing season ever. They traded Jake Scott and so forth like that. That was an interesting year. But when I was there in the '80s when they had some good teams and played some good ball games.
Yeah. End the conversation.
Overall, buddy, if you go during a small stretch, it was like that.
Yeah.
But it didn't last.
What about Doak Campbell? You want to put that in there too? Doak Campbell's just a big crowd, just loud. Okay.
No, I wouldn't I would not have them in the top.
The discussion here is about the loudest stadiums, the Groks, and it's not loudest, but the best stadiums in the SEC, according to artificial intelligence. Grok. Okay.
What did Grok have as the worst one? Vanderbilt or no?
Well, I didn't go that far down. Yeah, Vanderbilt, I think might have been it. So.
Of course, Vanderbilt. I mean, my gosh.
I remember going to Vanderbilt, Shane, when Florida played there, and I remember going in and writing the book at the time, and they had no TV, and they had a radio timeout on the field. It's the only time I've ever seen a radio timeout stop action on the field. Unbelievable. That's what, and everybody thinks, we always got all these games. We didn't get those games on TV. Gosh.
You know what I remember? You go to Vanderbilt's press, you go everywhere at the press box, like we had been at like Auburn or Alabama the week before. And man, they had barbecue, they had food like you can't believe. And we go to Vanderbilt and they got grapes and little celery, little pieces of hacked up celery and the mini carrots and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the pregame meal. And oh my gosh, bad stadium, bad food.
Pregame meal doesn't even count to me in terms of rating a press box. But bottom line, a press box is a whole other discussion. But the fields and the venues, there are some great ones here in our country. Florida is one of them, and I think it'd be in my top 3 or 4 in the country.
I'd have Florida at number 2. I'd have LSU, Florida, and Auburn would be my 1, 2, and 3 in the SEC.
Yeah.
Neyland, I mean, we were talking about Neyland too, is up there, right?
I'd have them 4 or 5. Alabama maybe 4. It'd be Alabama or Neyland would be 4 or 5. Texas is the way the Texas Stadium's set up with the track around it and everything like that. It just, I don't know, it just loses something to me. I don't like it. Texas A&M, Aggie Land, give me a break. No, the only thing at Aggie Land that's worth a damn is halftime when the band comes out. The band is worth the price of the ticket. The football sucks there.
Bevo's pretty cool too. Seeing Bevo down there.
It is pretty cool, yeah.
That's pretty neat.
I wonder if he'll be at the game next year.
No, he won't travel here.
Well, they do travel sometimes, but most of it's because the teams don't let them. I wonder if Florida stops him from coming.
Well, you got to wonder about him and Boomer Sooner too. You
gotta have Boomer Sooner, man. You gotta have some I think that's terrific.
The thing is,
that's as annoying as Rocky
Stadium. You've been at Tiger Stadium, Shane, when they pulled the damn tiger out there, and if the tiger's pissed off that day, that's pretty awesome.
We talked about it before you came on.
Yeah.
and you know, and it would be nice to have him back and again. But I don't know if live mascots is the way people are going these days. I'm not sure. Shane, listen, while I got you on, and before Shane has to go have his peanut butter and cookies and leave and get up tomorrow morning for his show, he's got a hot sports writer on, so he has to go to bed early. Let's talk about the recruiting. Now, I know none of us here do any recruiting, all right? But there were some significant gains according to what I'm reading over the weekend, including the receiver from Buchholz, etc. There's been it was supposedly a really good recruiting weekend for things like that. So, although I have a policy now where I'm not going to talk about anything that's not happening on the field, that's where my focus is going to be. I do think that they may, from what I'm reading from others, I don't understand, and some of you people listening and watching can tell us, I think it was a very big couple of days for Florida in recruiting 2026. Kevin, what you know about it?
Yeah. Well, you know, hey, we got something breaking here. Kakua Rhino Amua, a 3-star tight end. Guy from IMG, Bradenton, just committed as well. Had
It's easy for you to say.
So 6'6", 260-pound tight end, pretty good as well. Yeah, it's been a good. I mean, I think it's been a good couple of days because now they're up to about 7, right? Janavri Carr, the inside offensive lineman, he's a guy from
Chancellor Campbell, 6'8", 306.
Yeah.
He's about a 3-star, but he's a big guy and someone they can get their hands on and train. Which is also big. Anyway, so go ahead. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, Carr is a guy that has some Trinity Catholic ties before he went to IMG. And this tight end also went to IMG. So they're getting into IMG a little bit here as well. And, you know, of course, the kid from Buchholz, Chester Williams, who we referenced also, another guy who I know that, you know, is, you know, one of the better players locally in the area. And, you know, area kids, it's been kind of hit or miss. You know, I mean, Gavin Hill didn't pan out, the kid from Buchholz. I mean, do you call Miles Graham an area guy? I mean, he was here 1 year. But he's going to have a lot of competition, obviously, in that wide receiver room, you know, when you consider what's already there. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how he fits in. But there's, you know, they've had a couple of good weekends. Obviously, they've had the events at Spurrier's. There's been doing a lot of tours. The Havner Center is helping. And obviously the House versus NCAA settlement, buddy, as much as you don't want to talk about off-field stuff, you know, these kids can rake in money now from the universities too, which I'm sure helps. These kids are probably all slotted somehow, and I'm sure that factors in a long way as well.
Shane, have you got it figured out exactly how the money thing breaks down, how it all happens, how many scholarships? I heard you talking to Scott. Franz wrote a really good column about it. He understands the numbers better than I do, better than most people do. And I can read you some of the numbers out of Franz's column, which I take as gospel. The new total for the men on scholarships is 265 versus 156.2. And the new limit for women, 255. Old was 129. There's a whole bunch of scholarships. Apparently, Sully's handing out quite a few of them these days. He's got some good-looking players coming in. So the number we heard, and Shane, you heard it too, is the 20 million or 20 billion, whatever is it, 20.5 million.
20.5, yeah.
20.5 million. And 75% goes to football, according to Franz, 15% to basketball, 5% to women's basketball. The remainder of 5% goes to all the others. The shared revenue will increase annually. Shane, that's a lot of money, buddy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think about it, quite honestly. You know, you got to figure out where the money for baseball and softball is going to come from, track, because you're going to see more and more, I think, athletes from those sports be on like year to year and bounce around if they don't change the rules for the, you know, going into the portal, because they can go play somewhere else and get more money. Because some schools are going to give more money to those programs. I'm glad I don't have to deal with it, as an administrator, because just getting we've all heard what Kirby said the other day at the SEC meetings, that you got to pay guys to stay verbally committed to you. I mean, that's just nonsense. It's just hard to believe, but that's what's happening across the country. Yeah. And you have to pay guys to come on a visit. So that's where we are today.
Well, general managers is what they need. Shane, let you go, do what you got to do, and you'll pot up with Shane Matthews tomorrow morning, regular time, 8 a.m. He'll be on with who else you got?
You're going to be on with Grok tomorrow, buddy. You taught me about Grok. He's going to do the show.
I think Grok will be better than me, by the way.
Well, no. Grok may be interviewing you on my show.
Okay, well, there you go. You all have the day off.
I'm going to sleep in and let Grok do it.
Okay, I like that. If it works, let me know. I'll try the same thing.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take care.
Take care, Shane.
The great Shane Matthews. Appreciate it, buddy. There's a guy right there that started it all. He didn't get enough credit because, France, if you remember how far this thing was down once they had the big cheating scandal with Broken, and Spurrier came in here and picked him out of the crowd. And John Reeves had a lot to do with him, by the way. Do you know that? You guys know that? He got him up on the practice squad, basically, and got him and told Spurrier, you got to take a look at that. Steve knew about him, but anyway, he does a heck of a job there.
John Reeves really taught him footwork. And, because having been in the NFL and the USFL, he knew about finding passing lanes and stuff like that. And Shane, by the time Shane played his first game, he already knew how to move in the pocket and find passing lanes. And, the only quarterback, they're picking a spring. Everybody else had to redshirt at least.
You break it up a little, France. I couldn't hear what all.
By the way, France, I do like your hat, though.
Yeah,
got the 1940s fedora going. I dig
that. Cool. Yes, it is. It's
it is very nice.
That's an expensive hat. That's a Stetson.
Now the Stetson's the Stetson was a gift, and now that one.
Oh, what? Is that not the Stetson you got on?
No, this is a Panama. That's a Panama hat.
You told me you got a Stetson hat out there. That's not it.
I do have a Stetson.
I've never seen the Stetson cowboy hat. I've had one. I didn't ever see a Stetson like that.
I haven't worn that one in a while, but that one was a gift when I stayed with Larry and Colonel Polly Gross in San Antonio. And condolences to the Gross family. They lost a family member, the big black German Labrador.
Your buddy, the dog,
France, the 75-15, I guess it's been floated around for most of the SEC schools, or Georgia has confirmed it. Has Florida definitely confirmed that yet, though, or no, or how they're going to spend it, or based on your sources? Or
seeing that yet. Here's where the problem is, Kev, and that is, and buddy, they still have left the door open for NIL money.
Yeah.
And supposedly there's a clearinghouse, and that clearinghouse is supposed to
enforce the legitimacy.
Then I go through that. I believe that through there, like I believe that I'm going to.
No question. Well, we lost France, but here's my interesting point on this. For as much as you don't want to talk about the off the field stuff, but the one concern that you have to have in this, and it'll be interesting to see, how the clearinghouse is enforced. But when you look at those revenue breakdowns, the conference is going to have the huge advantage going forward in basketball is going to be the Big East, because of the fact that no big time football in the Big East, right? So the 75% is going to be going to basketball, not football. And that's going to be interesting for Todd Golden's squad going forward. And thankfully he, put together those NIL deals for Boogie Fland and, et cetera, Xavier Lee when he did. But that's going to be something going forward. That's going to be an interesting story here, is how the Power Four conferences are going to compete with the Big East in the basketball realm, when the Big East can offer these players more money in recruiting.
How about that game against UConn up there in the Garden?
That's going to be a great game. Yeah. And Dan Hurley will be looking to get his revenge for sure, buddy. I mean, that's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be one of those, since, December 9th. And I mean, MSG has become basically, except for when St. John's plays, it's been a de facto home court for UConn over the years in the Big East.
Yeah.
Until, obviously Rick Pitino now is St. John's going when they face St. John's. But there will, it will be like a road game for Florida, unfortunately, in that game, unless a lot of those Gotham Gators come out. But you never know. National championship season, maybe you can rustle up some people in the Northeast. But Florida is going to need some support in that building because UConn, obviously, the proximity, the number of fans that can, just drive down from Connecticut. It's going to be that's going to be a really tough atmosphere, as will, Vegas with Arizona too. I mean, those to me are two what you would call road neutral games, right? Neutral games where you don't have something in your backyard. And for Florida, I think that you would like to maybe get a marquee game in the state as well. One of those games where you can play in Tampa or Jacksonville or Orlando, where you can get one of those big time opponents down here. And maybe, who knows, maybe Arizona, that might be one of those situations where they flip it the following year and play a game down here.
Yeah, by the way, I want to get Franz on when I ask this. I don't know if I can't verify, but do you know there are only 2 schools who've won a national championship in football, basketball, and baseball? And that we think is only 2, but can you name the one that is? Obviously,
I'm trying to think off the top of my head because of football, basketball, and baseball, I think there's more than 2, buddy. I think there's a handful that have done it.
Maybe I know there are at least 2.
Michigan, I think, is one of them, right? It might be Michigan. Michigan
I don't know. I'm asking you. I don't have the list. I can tell you. Yeah. We know already about Florida. They won 3-3 actually, and UCLA
for football and basketball, but football, basketball, baseball. That's what you're asking, right?
UCLA is done.
UCLA.
I don't know.
Florida, Ohio State, UCLA. There you go.
Yeah, UCLA, and anyway, so that's interesting. I thought that was very interesting. All right, now, do you follow the NBA at all?
Of course.
I can't watch it. It's unwatchable. I covered the NBA for 7 years. I covered tons of Nuggets basketball games.
Well, buddy, you didn't see did you see my story last week on the Gator ties in the NBA Finals?
I don't know. Maybe I did.
Mark Daignault, who used to work under Billy Donovan, is the Thunder coach.
I did not
from
see
2010 to 2015. Yeah, did you know that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander once upon a time was a Florida commit?
Not only that, I didn't know how to pronounce his name.
Yes, he was a Florida commit. I mean, Mike White had him, tried to get him committed when he was 16 years old, and John Calipari swooped in and stole him about a month before National Signing Day, after he had a big summer with the Canadian national team. So you've got him, and then obviously Andrew Nembhard, spent 2 years at Florida before he transferred to Gonzaga, and he's on the Pacers. So you've got some Gator ties here, and I watched the games. I've watched games 1 and 2, and game 1, obviously the Pacers rallied back. The Thunder couldn't put them away. Game 2, much better job by the Thunder in terms of keeping their foot on the gas all 4 quarters. Got a lot of contributions from the bench, and Shea Gilgeous was as good as Shea Gilgeous was. I mean, he's averaging about 30 points through the first 2 games of the finals.
One of the few guys who scored 70. What did he score? 60. I got it here someplace. Wrote it down. He put 31 and 31 up, I believe, in the first 2 games, I believe. So he is
so effortless getting to the basket too, and that wingspan. And under Daignault, OKC plays really good defense. Chet Holmgren played a lot better in game 2. He showed up. That was really big for the Thunder in that game. And Alex Cruz off the bench at 20. He's a former Texas A&M guy. I covered him when he was at Texas A&M. He played for Billy up in Chicago, and Billy loved him up there in terms of just an intangible guy off the bench. Hated to let him go and get traded to OKC, but he's contributing, plays really good defense. So I like the Thunder in 6 games in the series. Although I will tell you, Carlisle is a heck of a coach. I mean, if you listen to Steven Jackson's podcast, he says he's the best X's and O's coach in the NBA in terms of just how he makes adjustments and stuff. A lot of Indiana's comeback this season have been a result of some of the adjustment that Carlisle has made. And I think that speaks to Todd Golden's coaching acumen in the NCAA tournament as well. I saw a lot of adjustments through that March Madness run that helped them come back from some of those deficits too. Todd and his staff deserved a lot of credit for that. Along with the players, you got to get the players to believe and the players have to execute. But I thought Todd and his staff showed me a lot throughout that whole tournament and their ability to come back as well.
Yeah. On the subject of that, I had a good friend of mine from Denver who's pretty knowledgeable, used to be do a talk show. He wanted to know about Florida and how good they were going to be and would they be in contention. He just said, did they get that? They lost that guard. We know, of course, what he's talking about. Yes, they did. They had several guards they lost. No. I don't care about the rest of them. Of course, he didn't understand the 3-guard situation they had. And he said, but what about that front court? They get those. Yes, they got them all back. You got them all back? Yes, they got them all back. They got them all back. Yes. Oh, my gosh. Do they have a point guard? Yes. I tried to tell him about the guards, and he's, well, I don't know about them. Just tell people about the kids they got. They got obviously got Boogie, and they got the kid from Princeton. Talk about the backcourt.
Yeah, well, I mean, Xavier Lee and Boogie, it's going to be interesting to see the chemistry because, Xavier Lee, 6'4" guy from Princeton, an Ivy League school. And obviously, you look at his numbers and they're almost triple-double numbers. But then you have Boogie Flant coming from Arkansas, highly touted 6'2" guy from, obviously the New York City area, kind of that traditional New York City point guard that can handle the ball really well. But I think for both of them, I think the key is going to be getting stronger, getting used to how rugged the SEC is. I think that, in talking to Boogie's high school coach, he talked a lot about, Boogie even transforming his body a little bit, getting a little tougher and getting a little stronger. And I think Xavier Lee is going to be the same thing. Now, A.J. Brown from Ohio, he's got an SEC-ready body. I mean, he is 6'4", 210. He's solid. And he's another smart kid, too. He's in that Ohio University, sports management course, 4.2 student. There's something to be said for that in terms of that. I tend to find that smart guys, I mean, it translates to on-court IQ, translates to selflessness, translates to leadership. So I like that about him. And, he's obviously his brother plays at UF. So I think it's going to be a smooth, he's from Orlando. So I think it's going to be a smooth transition in that regard. They started summer workouts today, so we'll see. I mean, I still think, Brown is going to be the best shooter of the bunch, but I think that's going to be the overall question.
Best shooter, no kidding.
Yeah. So best perimeter shooter, I think, of the bunch, when you look at the numbers. But I think that's just going to be the big question overall when you look at Richard, Martin, and Clayton. I mean, their ability, you're replacing, I think, in the neighborhood of 260, 273 pointers. So that's a lot of 3-pointers to replace. And can those guys, shoot effectively deep? But I think what you've got are a couple of pretty savvy ball handlers in Boogie and Lee that might be able to get to the basket a little more.
Jumping around, you see DK got his contract, $5.3 million, Tennessee Titans. He makes almost as much as he could have made in college. Anymore, right?
Good for him. Good for Chim, because Chim was one of my favorite guys to deal with. These, and not just that, but a good, smart, I think he probably did really well in the combine interview process too. A guy that's selfless, a guy that has some leadership traits to him. Someone that I think will contribute on special teams as well. But he's fast. I mean, he's got the speed. He's got the wheels. He showed a knack for getting open. And, DK and Badger, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see. There's a lot of talent in that wide receiver, but DK and Badger both are veteran guys that are knacking to get open. So we'll have to see with some of these younger receivers. And certainly Sturdivant's a veteran, a little bit more of a veteran, but there's a lot more than just the physical tools, too. But I think we saw in the spring game, though, Dallas Wilson kind of knows how to get open a little bit.
I'll say. By the way, Switching sports for the final time. This will be our final comment of the night. Thanks for listening and watching, folks. How about it, Jack Caglione? What a weekend. He broke out, man. He went 4 for 4, 3 singles, a double. His first multi-hit game for him, for Jack. First 5 games, 2 for 21. His 6th game, 7-5 win over White Sox, and now 4 for 4. So he's beginning to get that. He hit some hard balls his first game. They just got caught,
Yeah. As long as that exit velo is going, buddy, and he's barreling up balls and making good contact, I think it's only going to be a matter of time, before we see that first home run too. And I think that will come in bunches too. But for a rookie to go 4 for 4 in a game, I mean, that's that's rarefied air. So that bodes well for him in the future. The fact that he's locked in, he's got a good approach, and I think the big question with him going forward will be what position he lands at. But I think chance for first base down the road. I think that's where he's
left to right field or first base. He wasn't a bad first baseman at all. He's tall. He can dig it out, so he could play. Final thing, we got about a minute. You're a Mets fan, right?
Yeah.
How about Pete Alonso? Tied David Wright for the all-time home runs this past week.
Yeah, well, Darryl Strawberry's 10 ahead, but tied second for all-time in the franchise race. But he's going to break Darryl's record this year. And, Pete is locked in, and I think Pete has probably benefited a little bit from Juan Soto hitting in front of him because Soto's taking a lot of walks.
Yeah.
He's wearing down pitchers, and it has really helped Pete. But Pete's put some work in, too. He's hitting the ball the other way a lot better than he has in the past. Last couple of years, he'd been a little pull happy, and it seems like this year he's getting behind the ball a little more, driving the ball out to right center field more, driving the ball the opposite field more, and just using that natural strength that he has. He's listen, he was pretty smart in signing that 2-year with the 1-year opt-out. So he's definitely gambled on himself this year. So I would expect if he keeps putting up these numbers, gets 35 homers, his bounce back year from the year before, he'll put his name in free agency, and we'll see if the Mets either resign him for big bucks or he'll go somewhere else.
Great stuff from Kevin Brockway, Gannett, and the Gainesville Sun. What's up next? You got 20 seconds. What you writing about?
Yeah, no, we're just going to have those football, basketball transfer trackers, a little bit more on the House settlement, how it's going to impact Florida. So those stories will be on the way. Got some tomorrow on DJ Lagway on where he's ranked across the country in different rankings, how he's perceived nationally.
Does a great job, folks. Check him out. Go to the Gainesville Sun or Gannett and check out his column. He's a good work, hard-working reporter and excellent writer. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Kevin Brockway. It gives us time to go out and say thank you. We lost Franz. We're getting back later in the week. Be busy writing anyway. And then, of course, Shane Matthews. I'll be on with tomorrow morning. Don't forget, 8 o'clock your time Eastern. I'm in the Central time zone. Got to get up early. And we'll be doing tomorrow night. Lauren Meadows will be back doing his show with Brendan on, then, of course, our regular lineup the rest of the week. So I want to say thank you to our sponsors. Appreciate, obviously, Meldon Law doing what they've been doing and their support. And again, if you want to know more about them, you need to go by and see the folks at Meldon Law because they are good Gator fans and they don't get it coming better. So also, let me just take a minute here to tell you about, hold on, let me get my copy. I didn't anybody see who won the game. Oh, the Rays are still on. They're leading. How about that? They're leading the Red Sox. How about them Rays? All right. Sorry about that. I thought I had my copy out here. When you're your own producer, is what you have to do. All right. I'm going to tell you about our friends at Titan MRI and Imaging. Joe Colorio, he started Highfield in 1997. He's back there now. Titan MRI and Imaging now has 3 locations to serve you, 2 in Gainesville with Park Avenue and now Millennium Center. 1 in Lake City serving all of Columbia County and the Valdosta, Georgia area. Titan MRI offers the same great customer service, and they accept insurance, or you can go through their convenient self-pay options. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, and ultrasounds, easy scheduling with lots of options, including nighttime if you can't make it daytime. They make those large MRI machines. This is key for patient comfort. Check them out. Titan MRI Imaging, 3 locations to serve you, and check them out if you need any of that stuff. It'll really help you out a lot. So thanks for listening and thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night with our team. And don't forget tomorrow morning the SEC sidelines with Brendan and the gang and Mr. Brown and the gang. So I'll say good night and thank you for listening.